Hi everybody. In this lesson I want to tell you about something called synthetic division. That's a really slick way to divide polynomials by divisors of the form x minus a number k. And the first thing you want to notice is that this process, this synthetic division, is really fast and it's really easy, but it only works to divide by divisors of this form, x minus a number. It won't work to divide by something like x squared minus a number, or even 2 times x minus a number. You can, however, make it work for divisors like x plus a number. For example, x plus 2, you could think of that as x minus a negative 2. So in this case, your k value would be negative 2. So let's do an example and show how it works. Let's first of all divide this using long division that we've already learned how to do. So I'm going to go ahead and divide out x minus 3, and I say x goes into x squared x times, so x times x is x squared, and x times a negative 3 is negative 3x. Then I want to subtract very carefully here, so I put parentheses around that. I get 0 here, 2x minus a minus 3x is 5x, and then bring down the 24. Alright, x goes into 5x 5 times. That gives me 5x, and then the 5 times a minus 3, because I have to multiply by the whole divisor. That's minus 15. Alright, again, subtract very carefully. You'll get 0 here, negative 24, minus a minus, that's the same as adding 15, right? So negative 24 and plus 15 is a negative 9. So my answer is going to be x plus 5, and then I'll put my remainder, negative 9, over my divisor like that. Okay? Now here's how we do that same thing using synthetic division. For synthetic division, what you do is you just take the coefficients. So I'm going to just write 1 for the x squared, and 2 for the x, and then negative 24 for the constant term. Then I'm going to make a little box over here, and I'm going to put my value of k, and the k is exactly, in this case, 3, x minus k. So k is what goes in this box. Alright, so if I was dividing by x plus 2, then my k would be negative 2, and negative 2 would go in that box. Alright, so I'm going to leave a space here for a row of numbers, and I'm going to go ahead and bring this 1 straight down like that. And then all I have to do is multiply 1 times the 3 and put it right here. Alright, so I'm going to multiply 1 times 3 and put it here, and then I'm going to add these together. Alright, 2 plus 3 is 5. And then I'm going to do it again. I'm going to multiply this 3 times this 5, and I'm going to put that right here. Alright, so 3 times 5 is going to go there, and then I'm going to go ahead and add those down, and negative 24 and 15, that makes negative 9. Now what you'll notice is these numbers that I have here are exactly the coefficients of my answer. The negative 9 right here is going to be your remainder, okay? And then this number right here is your constant term. And then the next one is your x term. Alright, and a good way to remember that if you want to go from the other direction is if I started off dividing by x squared, when I divide by a linear factor like x minus 3, it's going to reduce it by 1. So if I had x squared up here, it's going to be just x down here. And my answer is therefore going to be x plus 5, and then I'll go ahead and write that remainder over my divisor again, and I get the same thing. Okay, so let me do another example like that to illustrate the process. And this next example has a term missing, and that's really the key on this one, and that's the significance of this example. When I go to do the synthetic division, I'm going to write 1x cubed, and I absolutely must account for the missing term, 0x squared minus x plus 8. Of course, not minus x. I want minus 1 right there. I just want the number. Alright, minus 1, and then the plus 8. And then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to make a little box. And since I'm dividing by x plus 2, I want to think of this as x minus a negative 2. And remember, this only works to divide by x minus k, and k is what goes in this box. So Now I need to put -2 in the box, leave a space for a row of numbers, bring the 1 down. -2 times 1 is -2. Add these down. -2 times -2 is 4. Add those down. -2 times 3 is -6. Add those down. And I see that I'm done very quickly. This was x cubed. So when I divide, down here I'm going to have x squared. And this will be my x term, this will be my constant, and this will be my remainder. So my answer is going to be x squared minus 2x plus 3. And then I'll put the remainder over my divisor, in this case, x plus 2. And we see how fast that process is. Okay? Let me do one more. This here, dividing y cubed minus 125 over y minus 5, you should remember that this is the difference of cubes, and this actually factors, and you can factor out y minus 5. So we'll have a way to check this. So let's go ahead and write 1y cubed and 0y squared and 0y and negative 125. And over here, I'm dividing by y minus 5, so my k value is 5. Go ahead and leave a space for a row of numbers there. Bring the 1 down. 1 times 5 is 5. Add those down. 5 times 5 is 25. Add those down. 5 times 25 is 125. Add those down. And you get a remainder of 0. That's good. Alright, so I've got, remember this was y cubed up here, so this is going to be y squared, and this will be y. And I'm left with y squared plus 5y plus 25, and there's no remainder. And so that would be my answer. And again, a way of checking that, you remember that if I have the difference of cubes, I could factor out of y cubed minus 5 cubed y minus 5. And then what's left is a trinomial, that is this first number squared, and then it's plus this number times this number, which is going to give me 5y, plus, and then this number squared is 25. And then since that's all divided by y minus 5, you can see that that y minus 5 is going to cancel out, and I would get just this trinomial, y squared plus 5y plus 25, which sure enough, that's what we got using the synthetic division.